Mitä Pelataan podcast. My favorite games of all time that I own. 2020 edition. Part 8, positions 36 to 28. Welcome back. Today is 17th of August and I didn't record this in a set of 3 like I said last time that I would. But it doesn't really matter, I'm recording this now. So today on the list we have one new game, and all the other games have either been in my list the last time I made it, or they were on the list of top 9 games that I don't own, but they were still within top 81 games of all time in my list. So without further ado, let's begin the list. On the 36th position is the only game in this part of the list that I hadn't played when I made the list the last time. This game is from 2019. It's a roll and write game. It's published by Thunderworks Games and designed by Jordi Adan, and it's Cartographers, a role-player tale. This is, in my opinion, maybe by far the best roll and write game, and I especially like this with 3 players because when you draw these monster cards, you give your map, what you're drawing, to both opponents, so everyone affects everyone. And it also works well with 2 because you just play against each other. And I really like this mechanism that you open cards and then you choose what you draw, and this monster drawing to other sports, it's very interesting and it can be really bad at some point. Also the goal tiles or the goal cards, they affect a bit that what you try to achieve and what you try to draw to your map, and I don't know, this is heavy enough but not too heavy for a roll and write game, and it's one of the best games from last year. And so it's on this list, on position 36, Cartographers. On 35th position is a game that was on 20th position last time I made the list. This is a bit of a cheat, not even a bit of, because this is 3 games. I can't decide which one is the best. They're published in 2017, 18 and 19. All of them are designed by Michael Kiesling, and the first one is published by Plan B Games, and the remaining ones, the 2 newer ones, are by Next Move Games, as it's moved to that line of games within Plan B Games. And this is Azul, and also Stained Glass of Sintra and Summer Pavilion. If I have to choose one, I think the original is my favorite, because it's so cutthroat in a nice way, and it's very easy to play, and basically anyone can learn it. I've even played it with my mother-in-law, who doesn't really play games. I mean, she likes playing games, but when we are with her, we very rarely play games. But this was good, and I saw my wife and my mother-in-law get into a very heated argument for stealing pieces in this game and making the other one drop some tiles to the floor. And thus I really like this game. I haven't played the original one for a while. I've played the Summer Pavilion. I will probably record a review on it after this list. I'm planning to make a few episodes of lots of reviews. It's easier to talk and faster to talk, and speaking is more effective than writing. And then I will put photos to Instagram or somewhere so you can see the games as well. But all of them are different. If you played the original Azul, the Stained Glass of Sintra changes it so that you move one column at a time and then you add things, and then you can flip back and you can really screw the other players with timing, and it's a different way of playing the game. Summer Pavilion, you try to complete the stars on the map or your board, and you collect bonuses, while completing them, and if you enclose a bonus, then you get a bonus, and you are supposed to try to combo lots of turns so that you can place multiple pieces in a turn, and then you'll do fine. I still haven't won that newest one in 2-player game. I've lost every time to the wife, and I'm a bit annoyed by that. But the original one is probably still the best. You try to make the rows of tiles, and you can put only one color tile on a row and also on a column, and then when you complete the columns and rows you get points and bonuses, and all of these are a bit cutthroat. The newest one, the Summer Pavilion, is the kindest one, so to say. You can't really screw the other player that badly there as you can in the others. And the first one is the meanest and the backstabbiest, or actually you even stab to the face in this game, and that's why I like it the most if I have to choose one. But all the three are on this same 35th place on my list. Azuls, all the Azuls. The game on 34th position is a new version of a game that was on my list on 80th place, but I didn't own it at that point. I still count it as the same game because it's so similar. It's published in 2018. It weighs too much. It's designed by Mike Elliott, Brian Reese and Mark Wooton, published by Alderac Entertainment Group, and it is Thunderstone Quest. I'm still waiting to play the campaign. I have to say that I've only played this once, but the expectation of continuing the campaign is so high that this is so high on this list. And I really liked all the mechanisms. This made Thunderstone Advance, that I had played earlier, a lot better in my opinion, and I even backed the cooperative version of this and the Epic pack, so I can play this Tom Vasel's Epic Thunderstone with this set as well. But I just need to brainwash someone to play this with me, because I don't think that this can or should be played with more than 2 players. Maybe maximum 3, but 2 is good and snappy, and that's the way to do it. I don't think the wife will like this, so I'm not even trying to introduce this to her, at least at the moment. But when I find someone that wants to play the campaign, I want to do that, because it has lots of promise and lots of different missions, and this will very likely go higher in the list after I play more. I didn't say anything about the game, but this is a deck building game where you get heroes to yourself and items, and then you go to dungeons and try to beat the bad guys and collect treasures and collect better items and more money and collect points, and then you win the game when you have the most points at the end of the game, and when you get experience you can level up your characters, and it's a bit of a balance what you draw and what you can do in your turn. But if you're able to manage your deck fine, this game works very, very well, and it's a pleasure to play. One of the best deck builders, and in my opinion one of the most thematic ones, if you don't count any IP deck building games. So this time on 34th position, Thunderstone Quest. The game on the 33rd position was last time on 42nd position, so it didn't really move much. And I really like this game by Inga and Markus Brandt. It's published by Hook, and I've lately played it in Yukata, but I really like this on the table, because in Yukata you kind of lose the track. It's really difficult in my opinion, or was really difficult to follow what the other players are doing. This game has the best end mechanism, one of the best end mechanisms at least in my opinion. It's when your money and your fame cross each other on the track, and the one whose markers cross the most wins the game. And this is Rajas of the Ganges. In Finnish it's Kankien Rajat, or maybe not. As I said, the end mechanism is really great in this game, or the end condition, and I also like the dice dice management in the game, that you roll the dice and then you can change them into other dice and then you can build your own area. And I mean, this has so many different things to do that it's really rare that you can't figure out anything interesting to do in this game, or anything that is not beneficial to you. You can in so many ways affect your own game. The money might be a bit too powerful in the game, but I'm not convinced that you should just go for money, because other players can also prevent it in a way that you can't do that well. And also the Mango Village expansion is really good in my opinion. It's a mini expansion and adds these Mango Villages that even have a place on the map, although it's not made for them, but they found a place for them on the map or the board, the game board. And I really like it. I should play this more, and I would willingly play this more on a table, not necessarily on Yukata, because it was really difficult to follow what's happening. At least for me, I didn't like it, because also it took some time between the turns, so you forget what you were trying to do. And when it's on the table, you can all the time pay attention what is happening, so you know that if someone will take your building tile from where you want to take a building tile, or if someone goes up on a certain building track and they will get more points for that building and everything. So it's so much easier to play on the table. So on 33rd position on the list, Rajas of the Ganges. On 32nd position in the list is a game that was on 34th position last time. This I've also played now 2 times in Board Game Arena lately, and I played this game with 2, 3, 4 and 5 players, and I'm leaning to thinking that this game is best with 3, maybe even with 2. 2 was a bit not that good, but 3 was probably the best gaming experience on this game. Although Board Game Geek says that it's 4, but 4 is a bit too chaotic and tiles are everywhere and you have not that much control over what you can get and what you can build, especially if someone hasn't read the rules. Right, Richard? If you're listening, you should be reading. But yeah. The game is Keyflower. I probably forgot to say. It's from Sebastian Bleasdale and Richard Breeze and R&D Games. And Hook. I have bought the expansions for this and some promo tiles. I haven't played with the expansions yet, but I want to try so much with the expansions because this game is becoming better and better the more I play this. And if I had played or finished those both matches in Board Game Arena before making this list, this might be maybe 10 spots higher. Yeah, something like that. It would be in the 20s, 20 something. And I really like this mechanism that you have random color meeples and you bid with the meeples, and then you have to use the same color meeples to use the tiles if you want to use them, and whoever wins the bid on the tile gets the meeples on the tile, and you can use the tiles on the other players' boards, and you can in a way block them from using their own good tiles that they have collected. And it's very tight also if the people know how to play. And yeah, I don't know, I want to try it with the expansions, but I'm leaning to think that this one is best with 3. The Board Game Geek thinks that it's easily best with 4, and even 5 is as suggested, almost as recommended as 3 players, but I think you have more control with 3 players and it's faster, and I think it works better or the best. This is almost a classic game already that you should try. If you haven't tried it, it does things differently. I don't think any other game has this similar mechanism in bidding and using the different meeples. And also you need to build so that you have path from the tiles to other tiles, and the better the tile, I mean, so to say, the better the tile, the less roads there are leading from the tile to anywhere. And the worse the tiles are, they have more roads, so it's easier to build them and make a road from one place to another, because you have to move the goods to tiles to be able to update the tiles or to get points at the end of the game from the tiles. So this has lots of these small mechanisms, and it's a great game and should be higher on the list, really, if I updated it at the moment. But at the moment it's on 32nd position on this list. Keyflower. The game on the 31st position in this list was at one point my number one game of all time. Then I played it without any expansions and it has come down. It's steadily falling. Now I want to play it again now, because I haven't played it for a while. And I wouldn't play this without expansions anymore, because I'm used to the expansions and they make the game so much better. This is from 2008. It's published by Fantasy Flight Games and it's designed by Cory Konieczka, and it's Battlestar Galactica. And when I say expansions, I don't mean throw everything in, but you should throw things in from all expansions. I mean, obviously you take all the characters from all the expansions. I have all the expansions, of course. And all the characters you take from there, then you should, if I remember right, it's been years since I played, but the most interesting way to play this, in my opinion, is to add the ship from Pegasus, then add the negative brown cards from Daybreak. They are better there. If they say that Mutin is something, that just ignore it. They are much better than the ones in Pegasus, but you have to add them. It's a lot better, the game, with those. Don't play with the Mutineer unless you want a really difficult game. I don't like the Mutineer at all. If you want, add the ship from Daybreak. If you don't want, then don't add. But it gives these missions. It can just be there. It's no harm done. Same with the alien ship or the Cylon homeboard. What is it? Cylon mothership something. No harm done if it's there. And then from Exodus, if you want to add the Cylon fleet. Why would you add the Cylon fleet? Is that if you have pilots in your group, they have something to do, because pilots are sometimes very useless, especially if you have two of them. But that's if you play with 5 or more players, then you might have 2. Because the pilots, if everything works well, you don't have any raiders, and the pilots are or can be a bit useless. But if you add the fleet, they always have something to do, and that's very good for them. I wouldn't want to play a pilot without the fleet. And if you want, go all the way to Earth or go to Cobol. It depends on you. If you want a longer game, go to Earth. If you want shorter game, go to Cobol. Don't use the, this stress thing from Exodus. That's just nonsense. I haven't even tried it because it seems so ridiculous that I don't even want to try with it. Also, this end from Pegasus, when they go to the land and then I don't remember what's the name. It's been too long since I watched the series, or I've never even played that with that ending, but that also seems so stupid that you shouldn't use it. Go to Cobol or go to Earth. Add all the ships if you want. Pegasus is mandatory in my opinion. The others are up to you. Add the fleet if you have pilots, and of course add the plastic pieces from all the boxes. It's funny that the base game comes with cardboard ships and everything, and all the expansions come with some plastic pieces, so all the expansions add one plastic piece. It's a bit money grab, a bit. But anyway, Battlestar Galactica is a kind of a social deduction game. Maybe if you haven't played it, you want to know. It gives the feeling of the television series, new version at least, and you're in the ship, you try to survive. Some of you are Cylons, either in the beginning of the game or midway through the game, and when you add the characters from all the expansions, there can be Cylon leaders, and of course you should play with the final, final 4, no, final 9, number 9, something. Anyway, if you watch the series, you know what I mean. Those characters from the expansions, because they have these good abilities, and you should play with the silent leader rules from the latest expansion from Daybreak. The silent leader rules in Pegasus are nonsense. The ones in Daybreak, you get multiple of these cards and it shows that which side you are on. And yeah, so anyway, every turn you do something. Usually there's something going wrong with the ship that you try to do, and you try to be able to jump, and after a certain number of jumps you win the game. If the ship is still intact and you have people and food and everything is fine, then you win the game. Otherwise the silence win, and someone is silent and they can pretend not to be a silent, or they can reveal themselves and do a bad crisis to you. Every round you draw a crisis card, and you add skill cards to the crisis and try to solve the crisis. All the crises have different number of skill cards and points that are required to solve the crisis, and if the goal is met, the crisis is solved. If it's not met, something crap happens. And that's basically the game. Every round you have some trouble and you try to overcome the trouble, and if you are able to overcome the trouble, you win the game. It's really difficult to tell the feeling, but if you watch the series, I repeat it again, you know the feeling in the game. And I want to play this again somewhat soon, because maybe I've overcome the annoyance from the vanilla play of this game. I mean, it was my latest play of the game, and the first time I played without expansions, and it's the last time. I'll never do that again. I don't want it. It's nonsense, at least to me. So, in any case, on 31st position in this list, my former number 1, 25 from last time, Battlestar Galactica, the board game. On 30th spot in the list is a game that has also been close to my top 10 earlier. Last time it was on 19th position, and now it's on position 30, mostly because I haven't played it for a while. This is an absolutely fantastic 2-player game that I should play very soon, and the wife also likes it. I don't know why we haven't played it for a while. I even have the expansion, and I didn't try with the expansion. This is from 2014, it's by Bruno Catala, published by Days of Wonder, and it's 5 tribes. This is probably the best Mancala style game, that where you pick up things and then you drop them around and then you do something depending on where you drop them. And you here collect goods and you try to get the favor of jinns to yourself and collect money, which is points, and you spend it to do some things, and you bid for the turn order. And especially in 2-player game it's good because you have 2 turns in a round, so you can go 4 turns in a row, but it very rarely happens. But if the bidding goes in a way like that, so you can make very crazy combos. If there's 3 or 4 players, you just have 1 turn, and in my opinion this is by far the best with 2 players. Also, this game is very easily AP inducing because there can be so many different things that you can do, and especially if the others keep talking when you're thinking, and then they say that I see a place, I see a good move, I have a good move that, and then you become stressed, and 2-player game definitely. And it has to get back to the table with the expansion. The expansion adds mountains and some other stuff to the game. And the game on 30th position was 5 Tribes. The game on the 29th position I didn't own last time when I made the list, but it was on 33rd position. On the top 81 and quite high on the top 9 games that I don't own, and it's about on the same position currently. This is a game from 2017. It has expansion that is just minis. They came up with the essential edition or a smaller edition that is much cheaper, maybe this year or last year. It's published by Mindclass Games. It's designed by David Turci with Richard Amman and Victor Peter. And the game is Anachrony. Yeah, I've played this only once, but after playing it, I immediately bought it and the expansion because it was so awesome game. If I play this and when I play this more, this will go high. This can even be in the 10s, maybe even in the top 10. It's a fantastic game where it's this worker placement game, and it's so tight. And it has this very good mechanism that you can borrow stuff from the future, but then you have to pay back. But if you need something and you are able to take it from the future, you can take it from the future. But be prepared, you have to pay back. And also when I played it with the, was it quests or some kind of other expansion module that you can upgrade your mechs and you can send them to a quest and you can paddle something and then you get something. That made the game so much more open because there were more positions where you can go and you can focus on that also, and not only the worker placement part of collecting resources and trying to beat the other player before the doomsday comes. This is one of those games that I don't really remember that much, but I remember liking it so much, although the game that I played lasted 4 hours and didn't end very peacefully. Someone might have played too serious. but anyway, the game is still really good and I want to play this as soon as possible. Let's see when I play some of those games that I still need to play for review purposes to be able to review them and say something about them. This will be among the first ones that I want to get to the table, along with some of the games that I mentioned earlier already in this list. There have been few that I said that I want to play it immediately because I'm forgetting how it works. And this is one of those. Fantastic game that I want to play again. The symbology is like learning a different language when you try to play it the first time, but after you get used to it, it's not that bad. Although it seems that Mindclass is good with these symbols and they sometimes tend to go a bit overboard with them. Like, for example, Trickerion. I backed the Kickstarter originally for Trickerion and I still haven't played it. The symbology in that game is just absurd until you play it. If you play it, I'm sure that you will understand it, but too much different symbols and it's just, I don't know, like learning a language. And it's a bit same with Anachrony, but this is a great game. On 29th position in this list, Anachrony. The last game today on the 28th position in this list is a game that was on 39th position in this list. It's published by Matago. It's from 2009, designed by Bruno Catala and Ludovic Maublanc, and it's the big brother of Inis and Kemet, and it's Cyclad. And last time this and Kemet were back to back, if I remember right. Let's see, yes, Kemet was 40 and this was 39. This time when I made the list, I noticed that I'm not that eager to play Kemet yet, and also I've played it fewer times than this one. I've played this more, and this is more interesting to me still. I like the bidding mechanism that you bid for the cards that who you can use in that round. And I think that you should play with the Titans expansion if possible. I mean, it's a good game even without it, but without the titans it's really difficult to move on the map. The titans allow you to move using the titans, so you are not bound to where you are that badly. Also, it changes the map, but no one tells you not to play with the titans even with the island map. But of course the water movement is then more important when it has the small islands. The titans has a different map that is a bigger part of land and not just small islands around the Aegean Sea. Basically you bid for the cards, and whatever card you get to yourself, you do that action from that card, and you try to win the game by having 2 metropolis or 2 metropolises at the end of your turn. And it's really a tight game, and when you see someone is going to win, you can really go and block them and make it a bit long, but it doesn't drag as much as Inis can drag when you just prevent someone from winning. I mean, now I'm not talking about Cyclad, but anyway, in Inis the game is really good and I really like it, but it drags. It has possibility of not ending ever, and I want to get that season's expansion from somewhere with a proper price, but I'm not paying a price of a full game for that expansion. But I've understood that it makes the game a lot better in a way that it shortens the playtime and doesn't let the game drag. But anyway, back to Cyclad. There's also expansion Hades that adds this undead or forces of the dead or something like that. It's fine, take it or leave it. It's not a bad expansion, but Titans is a lot better expansion than that one is, in my opinion. And you can just mix the cards and add all of them or not use all of them or use some of them and everything. And this is a really good auction game with area control mechanisms. And I really like it. I've liked it since I played it the first time. It's very solidly in my top 90 games of all time. This time on 28th position, Cyclad. So that's it. Now we are in top 30 already. In the next part of the list, there's only 4 games that I've played earlier and that were on the list. 5 games that were on the list previously when I made the list. But all of them were in top 20 and all of them came down a bit from the previous time of making this list. There are some very solid new games, 4 of them, and they belong to the list really. One of them maybe could switch place with the Keyflower that I talked today. After I've now played it in Board Game Arena, it might do a swap with Keyflower, and that might be more correct. Let's see, I'm still trying to finish recording and editing all of this by the end of August. It seems that I might be able to do it. Now I'm recording in the evening when everyone else are sleeping, so my voice might be a bit low, but hopefully you can still hear and understand what I'm saying. I might speak on a lower voice even without understanding it, but I hope it's fine. And subscribe to the podcast, comment somewhere, say something. No one is commenting on my list. I don't know if people are just thinking that it's nonsense or people are thinking that this is a definitive list. I don't have to comment, he's right. Yes, thank you, I'm right, I know, but you still probably have opinions on games and lists. But yes, of course, my list is my list. I think it's the perfect and the definitive list. Although it's of course subjective. It's not a list of best games ever. It's a list of my favorite games of all time. With my criteria, with my decisions. It's in no way objective. But most importantly, it's to show you or give you a taste of my taste, so to say. So you know that if you should trust me or not, or if you like similar games than I do, and why I like some games, and why you might like some games that I do, and why you might not like some games that I do. but at least you know what type of games I like. And once more I'm saying, please somehow interact with me. It's a bit silly that no one says anything, or no one gives a review to the podcast if someone is listening. There are over 300 listens. That might not be correct. Maybe there are some bots listening, but anyway, there are over 300 listens to the intro and not even a single comment anywhere on that, as far as I know, or I haven't seen. But still. And it's almost exactly midnight, so it's time for me to say thank you so much for listening, and I hope you get something out of this and continue listening in the future. You can find this podcast on SoundCloud at Mitä Pelataan. You can find it also in iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever, whatever podcast catcher you use, it should be able to be found there. You can find me from Instagram and Twitter with username Mitä Pelataan. In Facebook there's a page Mitä Pelata. I have a blog where I have some written reviews and all of these combined at mitapelataan.wordpress.com. You can find all the relevant links from Linktree/Mitä Pelataan. You can send me email at mitapelataan@gmail.com if you wish. And one more time, thank you and bye-bye. Thanks for the music to Grimwater. Is it Metropolises or Metropoly or what it is? Metropolises, I think. But anyway, multiple, more than one. So 2 Metropolis is required to win.